A small handful of anonymous sources were allowed to drive a smear campaign, an agenda about me, because our left-wing media in America today, sadly, doesn't care about the truth. All they were out to do, Mr. Chairman, was to destroy me. And why do they want to destroy me? Because I'm a change agent and a threat to them, because Donald Trump was willing to choose me, to empower me, to bring the Defense Department back to what it really should be. One question.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times, is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report.
Following an almost comical series of embarrassing leaks, Pete Hegseth is now clamping down on the free press.
Maybe the policy should look like the White House or other military installations where you have to wear a badge that identifies that you're press, or you can't just roam anywhere you want. It used to be, Mr. President, the press could go anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the Pentagon, the most classified area in the world.
Is that true?
No, absolutely not. And he knows it, and he should be telling the president the truth. Reporters, first of all, have worn badges identifying themselves, just like you do at the White House, the State Department, Capitol Hill, for decades. So that has been taken care of. Going anywhere they want? Absolutely not. Several months ago, Hegseth further restricted where reporters could even walk in the Pentagon. But prior to that, no. They go where they have business to conduct. They go to Starbucks to get coffee in the morning. But they don't go into classified areas, and they don't go chasing people down in the hallway. Let me make a point about that, however. Over the years, I covered the Pentagon. We often, all of us, ran into the Secretary of Defense or the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs in the hallway, and they would come to the press area to have a chat. You know, hey, what's going on? What are you guys working on? What's up? There was very much this ongoing communication. What Hegseth is about to lose, I don't think he even comprehends. He's about to lose the ability to have communication with millions of Americans who read blogs, read newspapers, tune into TV to get military news, to find out what's going on, to find out how their tax money's being spent, what the troops are up to, how military families are doing, how women and minorities are doing in the military. He's going to have a tough time really communicating. And that's very different than President Trump, as you know, Caitlin. Mr. Trump likes to talk to the media every day that he's in office. Hegseth almost never talks to the media. And I think behind the scenes, the big question that's being whispered about more and more is, what is Hegseth afraid of? If he's afraid of leaks, go after those he believes are leaking. If he's afraid of not showing the president how tough he is, well, he probably needs to start by telling the truth about what's really going on with the media and the Pentagon and going from there. I think he's about to potentially run into a buzzsaw of trouble because reporters are going to continue to report, whether they're inside the building or not.
this is not just a war on leaks. Every administration
carries that out to one level or another.
War on leaks. This, at least from my perspective, is making the Pentagon as difficult to cover as possible. And, you know, the next step is to ban reporters entirely from the Pentagon.
Last month, Pete Hegseth informed news outlets that reporters will no longer be allowed to cover the Department of War unless they agree to only report information that's been pre-authorized for release by the Trump administration, with the obvious intent of transforming our free press into state media and stopping any more of these embarrassing leaks and slip-ups. Unsurprisingly, One America News has agreed to sign on to this, but encouragingly, every other major TV news network, including Fox News, Hegseth's former employer, has released a joint statement saying that they are not going to play ball with this. The statement reads, "The policy is without precedent and threatens core journalistic protections. We will continue to cover the U.S. military as each of our organizations has done for many decades, upholding the principles of a free and independent press." The refusal of major networks to comply is a rare moment of unity, but the fact that any of this needs to be said should still terrify us, especially because Pete Hegseth seems keen to follow through with his threats, meaning that very soon we may have extremely limited coverage of what happens inside of the Pentagon, if any at all. And the irony is that most of the leaks and information are coming directly from inside the Pentagon, something that's going to be a lot harder for the administration to control than a few journalists.